Hello yogis. So today's practice is going to be a yin session. As we're in lockdown, many of us are out walking, and when we come home we probably don't feel like an energetic practice, so a yin practice is great for this. Today's practice is going to be working with the hips and also working with the shoulders. So work at your own pace, do what feels good to you, and only do what feels good to you. That's all about awareness when we're practicing your yin. You'll need lots of cushions, so gather around your cushions. And once we're settled, we'll go into our first posture. Each posture is about 3 minutes. So we're going to bring the feet together. This is your classic butterfly posture. If you have back issues, you may want to keep your back straight. If you don't have back issues, then you can roll forward into that flexion and bow your head appropriately. And you can bring cushions in front of you. And if you find that you're not coming as far forward as you want to, you can pop a cushion underneath your buttocks, which will tilt you a little bit further forward. So once we've found our position, we'll take the timer, we'll pop the timer on. And we know that in yin, it's all about awareness. It's not about how we look in our postures. In fact, yoga is never about how we look in our postures. It's about how we feel in our postures. And that's what's more important than anything. We work with our breath in our yin practice, so take a nice long deep inhale, and on the exhale just ease into your posture. So you may already be in your posture. If you're practicing yin for a while, you're already in that posture, and that's absolutely fine. You don't need to wait for me. And it will be quite a quiet practice so that we can get in touch with our inner selves. We can get in touch with our emotions because we're working with the hips. And we can get in touch with our mind as we're working into the shoulders, so we're going to release any stress and agitation that we may have in the mind as well. So take another long, deep inhale, and exhale takes you deeper. I'd like you now to imagine a beautiful lotus flower, whose petals only open one by one. But the strange thing about the lotus flower is that it will only grow in mud. So like life itself, to grow and gain wisdom, first you must have the mud, the obstacles of life, and all the sufferings that go along with life. The lotus flower is an important symbol of spiritual progress for the yogis, as we can grow from the muck of even the worst circumstances or sufferings of life. So take a nice few long deep breaths and release deeper into your posture. And think about that beautiful lotus flower. When it arrives to the surface, it's pristine. Nothing has touched it. Couple more breaths. And we now have completed our 3-minute hold. So just slowly and carefully rise up, nice and slowly, till the back is nice and straight. And then bring the knees together. Bring your fingertips behind you and point them to your buttocks. And take your feet nice and wide, so really wide. Take an inhale here and exhale over to the left. So just internal and external hip rotation, and also a nice little twist in the spine. Inhale back to the center and exhale over. Now your knees may not come all the way down, and that's absolutely fine. But you'll find that the wider you place your feet, the more opportunity you have to bring those knees down. So wider feet and more opportunity to bring those knees down. The next practice will be working into the shoulders. We will be on our knees, so Any knee issues, you may just want to take child posture. Or any shoulder issues, you may just want to take child posture. And child posture is this posture. And we can also do that in reverse. If the knees are problematic today, we can have our child posture in reverse. But for those who want to work into the shoulders, have your cushions handy in case you need them. Bring your knees underneath your hip. And now we're just going to bring the elbows down to the mat. So we're going to keep those buttocks nice and high. Draw the navel in slightly. And then if it feels appropriate to you, you're going to stretch your arms forward and bring your forehead to the mat. Now this may be too intense, so you can always have that cushion brought back in and place your forehead on cushions. So whichever feels appropriate to you. And you'll feel this nice stretch and opening in the upper back. And if you want to release it a little bit, just walk the hands back a little bit and soften it a little bit. But just being aware. Nice easy breathing. Remember, you can be back in child posture. I'm going to take 5 more focused breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And some of you may want to remain here for the next sequence, or you may want to return to that child posture if you've had enough. So for the next sequence into the shoulders, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Just going to thread this left arm through and lay this side of the head down. And then this top arm may want to come to the buttock and we take a little twist. So really being aware of this posture. We're not staying here for 3 minutes, you'll be pleased to know. Just being aware of that movement in the shoulders, that opening in the shoulders. Just a couple more breaths. And then we'll come back to that tabletop to allow us to go the opposite direction. So now the right arm goes underneath, and we lay the side of the head down, and the top arm comes to the buttock or the waist, and we take that a little bit more of a twist in the spine. Couple more breaths. And then we arrive back into tabletop, so coming back into tabletop. Let's take child posture, so those who've been in child posture for a long time, we're joining you, and it's a great posture. You know, wonder why you chose it, because it's a great posture, gets into the whole of the spine. Nice easy breathing. And then slowly we'll walk the hands back. We're coming up into a seated position. So nice long legs. And then we're going to open the legs nice and wide. So really wide. And again, rounding of that back is not for you if you've got back issues. Keep it fairly straight. Keep your hands on the mat and just work into the fascia around the hips, hamstrings and knees. No back issues. We're coming forward. And if you find you're not coming forward enough, pop a cushion underneath the buttocks, lift yourself up, and this will take you further forward. You may not want the cushion if you've been practicing for a while. Cushions may not be for you. Take an inhale. Feet can be either flexed or just floppy. Flexed is this or floppy, whatever you want. Take an inhale. Exhale, find your first edge. This is a 3-minute hold, so the timer is now on and we're into that 3-minute hold. Lengthen up, inhale, exhale, release either onto your cushions or arms onto the mat. So again, thinking about that lotus flower, that beautiful lotus flower. As yogis, we can experience the flower of spiritual progress emerging from the mud and muck of our actions as we exercise consistent efforts to improve and to grow, to start to love ourselves a little bit more and not be so hard on ourselves. Remove the attachment of criticism about ourselves and embrace life and all it offers. So while you're in this long hold, you may like to observe how now or in the past you've been critical about yourself. And maybe we can let that go. If you want to go a little bit deeper, take another long, deep inhale, lengthen a little bit, and then exhale takes you a little bit deeper. And if you're not coming as far forward as you feel you should, then are you now criticizing yourself again? So just be in the moment, just enjoy the moment for what it is. Nice easy breathing and release into the posture that feels good for you. Not what looks good, but what feels good for you. And this is why we use the props to support us, to allow us to linger in these postures a little bit longer. So we've completed our 3 minutes, so we're just slowly going to rise all the way up, nice and slowly. So the back is nice and straight. I'm going to pick up those knees. And this time we'll have nice long straight legs. Maybe give yourself a little massage. In fact, we are massaging the body throughout our yin practice. Maybe we've been out for a walk, we've come in now for our personal massage. How nice is that? And it's free. Nice personal free massage. And again, we'll do those windshield wipers, so we'll place the feet flat, wide, fingertips behind. We lean back a little bit, this also helps. Make sure the cushions are not in your way, and over to the right, and then over back to the left. And just really enjoying that movement in the hips. Couple more. And then we'll have those legs long again. Stay where you are. I'm just going to move so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring my fingertips behind me, pointing to the buttocks. I lift up my heart and really draw the shoulder blades together, just work into the neck a little bit. And then come back to our neutral position. Our next posture is going to be sleeping swan, and that will involve the knees. So if you're not happy to be on your knees for a while, then you'll take this option. So we'll have one cushion, and we'll lay down on our mat, and then we'll just draw that right knee and let it rest on the cushion. Leave the left leg long. Take the arms up over your head. You can have a cushion underneath your head as well if you want to. This is the reverse of what we're actually going to be doing. So if you're happy to do this, then do this. And if you want to go into the sleeping swan, which is known as pigeon in our yoga, but in yin it's called the sleeping swan, we're going to come into all fours. And then we're going to slowly draw the right knee towards the right thumb. Have a cushion handy because you may want to use it, so have a cushion handy. Now check out how this knee is responding to this particular posture. This back toe tucks and we walk the leg back a little bit further, then we untuck the toe. We can also go a little bit deeper by just leaning to this hip and bringing that foot a little bit more parallel. It's a little bit more intense on the knee joint, so check it out. Now this cushion can go underneath here, and this will help us move forward. So we're starting to bear weight on that front knee now, so you really need to check how that front knee is feeling okay. And if it's feeling a bit compromised, why not come up and stay here? So lots of different options. And you can also have pillows underneath your head as you lay down. So really being mindful of how we're feeling in our practice. If your mind wanders away from your position, just bring it back and check out how the body's feeling and what's happening with the mind right at this moment in time. Now halfway through, if you want to take another option for the shoulders and your head is on the floor, then just bring your hands into prayer and settle here. We're completing our 3 minutes. Bring your hands onto the mat and lift up. And now all we're going to do is slide this right leg back and lay on our tummies. And oh, that feels nice. Now if you're laying on your back, change the cushion to the other side and do exactly the same position on the other side. If you're coming with me, rise up through a very slow cobra, back bend, and then onto the knees. Draw the knees underneath the hips, and again, same posture. Left knee, meets the left thumb, back toe tucks, walk the leg away from you. Check out that your knee is happy. Draw that cushion underneath if you want to stop that rolling over to the side. And then release down. Cushions can be underneath the head, arms can be long. And again, just another little tip, if you feel that you wanted to go a little bit further, just take the foot, check out your knee, and keep this foot flexed if you're doing this. And then we roll forward again. And it's a lot more intense, so you may want to have that heel in the groin again. So just check out how it feels. Nice long arms. So in working with the hips, you stay in your position. I'm just going to chat to you about the hips. In working with the hips, your hips are vital to you. We need the hips for all our movements. But the hips also have a psychological element where we tend to store a lot of our emotions in the hips. It's to do with the sacral chakra, so it's the storage space for all of our emotions. And when we're doing a hip opening practice, it's nice really to, what I call, clear out. So clear out the emotions. That maybe we're hanging on to something. We don't need to hang on to it. We can just let it go. I think a great analogy for clearing out is, I'm sure all of you have got a kitchen drawer which is full of loads of rubbish. And you hang on to these things for no reason, just think, oh, I might need that one day. Well, we tend to hang on to our emotions like that as well. And this will hold us back sometimes by holding on to these negative emotions, these emotions of criticizing ourselves. And let's just accept ourselves for what we are and enjoy our lives. And let go of any criticism, let go of any negativity. Clear out the hips. And remember the symbol of the lotus flower arising from mud and muck to a pristine position where you've left everything behind. And again, prayer behind if you want to. And we've completed our 3 minutes, so we're going to bring the hands, if you're on your back, just remove your cushions and lay on your back. We're going to join you there. If you're with me, we're going to bring that leg back and lay down. And again, observe that sensation. And rising up through the cobra, onto the knees. And if you're on your back, let's take a child posture as well. So let's just roll over and take child posture. Stretch the arms out in front of you. Maybe lift up the wrists and come onto your fingertips, as if you're walking on your fingertips. And feel that stretch in the upper back. And then slowly we're rolling all the way up, and we are now going to come onto our backs. So removing your cushions, laying on your back. And if you remember the wide legs, so we'll have those wide legs again. Nice wide legs. Arms are nice and wide. And we'll just take the knees to the right. Settle here. Now again, you're at home, you've got the cushions, you can pop them under the bottom knee, you can pop them underneath the top knee, anything that makes it feel good for you to be in this position. And we can take our arms nice and wide. And then working with the neck. Well, we can do various things with the neck. We can just stay with the gaze to the ceiling, or we can turn our gaze to the right and leave it there. Turn the head to the right, or we can turn our head to the left and leave it there. Or you can try all three, whichever feels appropriate to you. And if you are having your head facing the ceiling, you may want to take your arms up long. And that might feel good as well. So observing the body and not drifting into the past or to the future, just being in the moment. And of course, being in the moment is a form of meditation, being mindful. A couple more breaths. And then slowly, if your arms are up over your shoulders, bring them back down again. And then we'll bring those feet back to the mat. Draw both knees into the chest and have a rock and a roll. And then we'll place the feet flat onto the mat again, and we'll take the feet wide, the arms wide, and this time we'll go to the left. Again, using the cushions appropriately wherever you need them, underneath the bottom knee, in between the knees, and let the knees drop onto the cushions, whatever feels good to you. No criticism, just acceptance of what the body's like today. And we can either have our head to the ceiling, to the right, or to the left. You just try all three, see which feels good to you. Just settle here now. So every day our body is different. And sometimes we can do amazing yoga postures, and sometimes they're absolutely inaccessible. And that's because the body is different every day. And that's where acceptance comes into play in yoga. So with acceptance, we have awareness, and with awareness, we cannot injure ourselves by pushing ourselves beyond our limits for that particular day. It's nice to challenge, but never to push into our postures. And it applies to yin yoga and to any other type of yoga. Awareness is the key. Awareness is yoga. Awareness of the breath, the mind, and the body, all working in conjunction with each other. Now, if you want to, you can have your head facing to the ceiling and stretch your arms up long behind you and have that nice opening. And a couple more breaths. And if your arms long behind you, bring them down by the side of your body. And slowly we roll back onto the backs, feet flat onto the mat. Draw the feet a bit closer together. Lift up your hips and settle the spine down. And then draw both knees into the chest and have a nice little roll around on that lower back, on the sacrum. And then from here, slide your hands behind your knees. And separate the knees and draw them into your armpits. And then if it feels appropriate, the feet go up to the ceiling. So you can either have your hands or arms behind the knees, draw in those knees to the armpits, or you could slide your hands to the ankles and draw down a little bit more. Try and keep the lower back on the mat. And if that feels appropriate, maybe you'll take the outside of the feet and draw down a little bit more. Keeping the lower back on the mat. Now this is where acceptance and awareness is appropriate. Hands behind the knees, maybe more comfortable for you. Hands on the ankles may be appropriate. And hands on the outside of the feet, drawing down. So just listen to your bodies. This posture is called Happy Baby. So imagine a baby in a cot and being very happy and content. And maybe we just want to roll around on that lower back. And if you're on your own, you may have a little giggle. So just feel content. This is how we started life. Content, with no issues, no problems, no negativity, just pure joy. So let's find that joy again. And then slowly we'll bring the knees together, draw the knees into the chest, and slowly one by one the feet go to the mat. And then we're going to come into our final posture, so nice long legs. You can keep your feet flat onto the mat if it feels better for your spine. That's acceptance and awareness again. Let's take the legs nice and wide. Pentacle posture. So take the arms up and away and nice and wide as well. And we just settle here for a couple of breaths. So we don't really need a long relaxation, as we've had quite a quiet practice, so we don't need that long relaxation which you would normally have in a hatha or in a Ashtanga class, to bring balance and harmony back to the body. And then very slowly bring the hands down by the side of the body, feet flat onto the mat. Let's have our final knee hug. And then feet flat onto the mat. And we'll roll over to our right, back to any comfortable seated position. So thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you'll join me again for some more yin sessions. And remember, the floor is your friend. So when you come into your home, don't slouch on your couches, sit on the floor. The more you sit on the floor, the more you'll open up your hips. So sit on the floor as much as you can. You can even eat on the floor with your legs underneath your coffee table. It's a great way to eat. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.